Right? All right, everyone. I am representing Healing from the Platinum Plus Stallions company in the back because, listen, there is nothing more healing when youth are out in the country, they're outside of these tall buildings and just around a lot of traffic and noise and distraction. But when you can go out on the prairie and be in the quiet and see the dew on the grass and the animals run free, let me tell you, that's healing. How many of you get a chance to do that? I know I don't get a chance to do it enough. I know my family here in the back does. But, and how do I look, by the way, with this on? Anybody? Okay, I don't have the mirror, but it's feeling good. Thank you, sir. All right, I'll get your number. It is time, everybody, let's just take one deep breath. Come on. Shh, I hate to do that, but I'm gonna do that right now because it's time to heal. Inhale, exhale. One more time, inhale, exhale. Just one more time. Inhale, exhale. What we just did was breathe. And we can't forget to breathe because when we breathe in, it's reminding us that we are alive. And every day above ground is a good day. Look at somebody and say, have a good day. Because as long as you're alive, you have something to do. And we save the best for last because it is all about wellness. And we have a team of individuals who are going to come and remind us about wellness. And how many of you know mental illness is real? And it is sometimes a quiet thing that no one wants to talk about, maybe a voodoo conversation, just a taboo conversation. I didn't say voodoo, I'm sorry, taboo. It's getting late. But it is a conversation that we must have because 3 out of 5, I understand, individuals sometimes suffer. I don't know if that number has changed. But we're going to bring up some individuals who work with people like you and I who suffer with this every day. But they're also making great strides with what they do. And I hope we can be educated and aware on the new information that we're going to learn tonight with the power of sports. How many of you heard of concussions that we know happen on the field? And other injuries that cause sometimes mental illness as well. And building communities. We're gonna have UCLA is in the house, Linda and Stuart Resnick Neuro Psychiatric Hospital. And at this time, we're going to have Leilani come, and if you don't mind coming, Catherine Landrum as well. Jason Witt, Community and Citizenship Specialist, Turner Construction Company. They're building that really big, gigantic stadium as well as an entertainment center in the city of Inglewood. Dr. Jonathan E. Sharon, Director, Department of Mental Health, Los Angeles County. And finally, David Siegel, who is the president of the Los Angeles Sports Council. And I'm so glad to be able to be the one to recognize, honor, and introduce our moderator for this mini roundtable, none other than Peter Strauss, Executive Director of Team Prime Time. Let's give him a round of applause. Now, brother, I gave you a good intro. You came up a little late, so come on. We're going.
Before everybody leaves, I want you to make sure you get your Dr. J card. This is outstanding. Ladies and gentlemen, it's an honor to be here, and with this group of talented people who are making such a difference. I wanted to briefly introduce how I was brought into the Dr. Jackie verse, because I understand many of you here were as well. I started an inclusion sports program called the Primetime Games, and what we do is we take populations often perceived as needing mentors, which are kids in inner city neighborhoods, and train them to instead become mentors for another underserved population, which are kids with disabilities in interscholastic sports at the middle school and high school level. And I met Dr. Jackie when we had the opportunity to work in Inglewood, and it was a challenge to find our schools, but that was the first time I ever heard, why not? And if you know Dr. Jackie, why not is the modus operandi for how things happen. So I wanted to address this panel sort of transitioning from why not to how to, because that seems to be, there's no shortage of interest in getting involved and awareness in this group, and I think it's just a matter of figuring out how. So it's an incredible honor and somewhat humbling to be to meet Dr. Sharon, who's the director of the Los Angeles County Department of Mental Health, which seems like an incredibly awesome task. And so often the transition from knowing things are a challenge or a problem to becoming involved is for it to become personal to someone. And I can't think of anybody better than yourself to maybe enlighten us on the mental health challenge and crisis that we're facing in Los Angeles, only as a starting point to what we can do about it.
Yeah, well, thanks for such a simple question. Yeah, I mean, I have to just say a couple of things here first before I dig in. You know, from one Dr. J to another Dr. J to my favorite basketball player, Dr. J, there is a basketball player named Meta World Peace who's right now, tonight, possibly at this minute, on a panel for us downtown at an event called We Rise, which is all about cultural change and connected communities, which is the biggest problem. And Jackie, I'm going to hit you up with our website so you can get that out to this amazing crew. We're also investing in the LA Sparks in terms of sports. We've given them $1 million to raise awareness around mental illness and mental health. I think Mr. Whitworth earlier today really hit it on the head when he talked about how you treat people and service, which is the way that we can start to develop a fabric. When we talk about individuals and we talk about sports, I like to use the analogy of when I surf and when I used to ski race, which is how far are you looking down the line? Because when you're looking down the line and you're losing that space where you're thinking about exactly what's happening at every given second, it's very healing. It helps you build the core of your brain, which does not get exercised adequately in a world that's so distracting. I also would just like to say that, to repeat, the biggest problem in my mind in our society, and certainly in Los Angeles County, is that we are a disintegrated community. We're divided. We're not connected. People are not aware of what's happening. The people are not looking out for one another and identifying people who have issues. And we don't know what to do when we have people that are sick or that have issues. The Department of Mental Health, in terms of what we're doing right now, we're pouring resources into what I call the community access platforms, the schools, the public libraries, the parks, the faith-based organizations, into the homes of families that are at risk, for example, because of child welfare involvement. And by doing that, we are actually helping to weave the fabric that we need in this community to get people who have issues connected to resources, whether that's mental health treatment or not. And we have a major focus on the social determinants of health. I don't really know with this short amount of time what to tell you, Peter, but I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have. And I guess all I can say is everybody has to be all in, or we're going to continue to see the epidemics that face our community actually grow, which the homeless count actually will be demonstrating shortly when it becomes public.
It's incredible. I think I will want to come back to you after we hear a couple thoughts. We are very blessed to have two people from the Resnick MPI Hospital at UCLA, Leilani Ayala and Catherine Landrum. You see what the good doctor is speaking about in clinic and also in the community. Can you talk a little bit about your practice and then also how you're taking that effort into the communities you serve?
I can share what project we have launched the last 5 years. We actually partnered with Compton Unified School District and the LA County Board of Supervisors when we launched the Community Bullying Awareness Intervention Program. We know that 1 out of every 5 students in the United States experience bullying. This is despite the fact that there is a zero tolerance for bullying in each school. Another fact that we took into consideration when we decided to launch this is that suicide is still the second leading cause of suicide, of death among adolescents, which is very concerning. It started 5 years ago. It was not an easy task. It took 2 years before we were able to implement, and one of the barriers that we encountered was getting the contract signed and everything. But over the last 4 years, we've had 120 kids each year participate in Bullying Awareness Summit. This started with the 6th graders, where only 26 kids attended, and then each year, they now send their kids to UCLA campus for a yearly Bullying Awareness Summit. So maybe the last 4 years, we've had a total of more than 400 kids participate in this event.
Dr. Sharon, have you noticed in the time that you've been in your position, have you noticed a trend that the diagnosis and the entry point for the mental health issues is getting younger, older, is it stagnant?
Well, it's a good question. I think it is getting younger, and there may be a lot of reasons for that. A part of it may relate to awareness and detection, and the kind of efforts that we're pushing out. But I think a lot of it, frankly, has to do with more and more social isolation and trauma, which is bad for brains. It's particularly bad for young brains that are forming, and it shows up in a lot of different ways. It shows up with, as people have mentioned, anxiety and depression. It also shows up as what we would call bad behavior. Bad behavior in many cases is people raising their hand and saying, I need help. And if we can deliver help, we can impact the trajectory of young people rather than to continue to punish them and give them a narrative of, I'm not good.
Jason Witt.
Yes, sir.
Your company, Turner Construction, is building the Inglewood Stadium.
That's awesome.
Talk about building communities. You're building a community, but it doesn't stop there. What is your company doing in the community in conjunction with your efforts to actually build the stadium? How are you building community?
Well, first I want to thank Dr. Jackie for the opportunity to come out and talk about some of the good work that we're doing in Inglewood. Some of those things that we're doing to affect the community, we've partnered with an organization called ACE Mentors, stands for Architecture, Construction, and Engineering. They're an organization that works with high school students to get them interested in the STEM field. We go to Morningside High School right now, and we mentor students to get them interested in the field. They also provide scholarships to get them to college. As someone mentioned earlier, education is one of those main facets that helps us to succeed. So this program is very important in shaping the future community. These students are living in Inglewood, and our goal is to get them to become engineers, architects, construction managers who are going to be building their own community right there in Inglewood. So that organization is really fantastic and doing a lot of good work. One of those other things that we're doing as we're working with the city of Inglewood is we're doing a book drive right now with Kelso Elementary School, which is directly across the street from the stadium project. The ability for kids to be able to have access to books, the ability to read. Literacy is one of those entry points that you have towards gaining that success. So we're donating money, we're gathering money from our folks who are working on the project, and our companies are going to do a match to whatever we raise money for in order to be able to provide this service to Kelso Elementary School. So those are some of the small things that we're doing, which are going to end up having a big impact to the community of Inglewood in order to get more folks working on our projects, getting degrees in engineering, architecture, construction. Because as we said, education is really the key towards opening all of these doors, for which I think all of us, someone opened them for us. Someone came in who talked to us about some of these things, hopefully. And our goal right now as a company and with our joint venture partner, AECOM Hunt, is to introduce them to people that look like them in their community so that they can see that it's possible. One thing that we've noticed at ACE Mentors in Morningside is a lot of the students, it's not that they don't want to become engineers, architects, construction managers, but they didn't know it was an option. And when they see someone who comes in that looks like them doing this work, it changes their whole mindset. They start asking different questions. So it's really important that we go back into the high schools and the middle schools to do that.
That's awesome.
I promised Dr. Jackie when we learned about your efforts that I would mention that the Kelso Book Drive is a challenge to people everywhere because you're matching, and that's one opportunity people have here is to learn more about that and potentially join your efforts, which I think is fantastic. So thank you for what you're doing. This is my good friend Dave Siegel. He is the president of the Los Angeles Sports Council, and I think he's in a very unique situation. And I wanted him to tell you what the LA Sports Council is, who he represents, and what his goals are.
Thank you so much, Peter. First of all, I'm so excited to be here, and I think I want to take you guys to the very, very start. And you talk about community and connecting communities at a young age. I'm a born and raised Angelino, and one of my first memories seeing the power of sport was going to a Raider game at the Coliseum. And if you guys remember, I fell in love with watching Bo Jackson run people over in the Coliseum. And for 3 hours on a Sunday, though, the Raiders drew the community together. I remember walking out of the Coliseum, high-fiving gangsters and lawyers all at the same time. We laugh, but that really struck me in what sport can do. And I was fortunate enough to spend a 22-year career with the Los Angeles Dodgers. And when this opportunity crossed my plate to become the president of the LA Sports Council, I completely jumped at the opportunity because I think I've got the best job in the world. I get to represent every professional sports team in Los Angeles and Orange County. I get to represent every major university in LA and Orange County. Dodgers, Lakers, Clippers, Kings, Rams, Chargers, Angels, Ducks, UCLA, USC, and really benefit and leverage them together and benefit our community in a way that makes LA a better place in partnership with these teams, these organizations, and these amazing universities, not only financially, not only philanthropically, but in a way that really has the potential to impact our community in a way that I don't think anything else can. One of the things, and the doctor next to me was talking about connecting communities and social isolation. Imagine in this day and age of collaboration that we talk about, the fact that I have an opportunity to be the third party agent that brings all these amazing organizations together and creates an impact in the community is something that I cannot be more excited about. And in fact, I just want to leave with challenging everyone in this room in your own industry to pull together and collaborate in a way that you can affect change in a way that you by yourself can't. So.
Such a good group. If you could, the best thing about going last is you get the last first chance to leave the last best impression. And so I wanted to just begin with the good people from NTI. If you could leave us with one thought about how we can join your efforts.
How long do we have? The secret's out. Listen, my name is Catherine Landrum. I just wanted to say thank you to Dr. J, to Digital Hollywood for coordinating this event. I have a sincere passion for not only basic health, medical health, but mental health. I just wanted to remind everyone that May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and it's also Stroke Awareness Month. I am a registered nurse. I am for Linda and Stuart Resnick Neuropsychiatric Hospital at UCLA. We just obtained a magnet designation, so I'm wearing my pin right here.
Congratulations.
If you don't know what that is like going to a 4-star hotel. So you are being treated in an acute hospital setting by some of the best nurses and doctors in the country. I just wanted to also say my clinical nurse officer, Dr. Patricia Matos, had to leave, but I just wanted to, she wanted to also say thank you. And I just wanted to leave you with just a few statistics about mental health. Depression affects 3.3 in 100 people. Generalized anxiety disorder, 5.9 in about 100 people. Panic disorder, maybe 0.6. These are general, 0.6 in 100 people. And mixed anxiety and depression is 7.8 in about 100 people. Mental health issues are rampant. It's a problem. And we are on the ground floor of caring for patients from all aspects of society, and we are working to get rid of the stigma of mental health. So this conference is very important to start opening the conversations about mental health and getting rid of the stigma, the negative stigma of mental health. So I just wanted to say thank you very much for having me, having all of us, and continued success. Thank you so much.
Jason, what struck me about what you're doing is you're trying to make a difference in your area of interest. You're creating the next generation of Turner construction people. Have you found that to be effective, and is that something you would recommend to people in their own industry?
Absolutely.
I love that.
I'll slightly elaborate. One of the things that I've noticed is so in my family, I got an engineering degree, and it was the first one in my family to be able to do such a thing. And it was only because
That's awesome.
It was only because my mother talked about it and introduced me to it. So one of the things that is imperative in my life is to constantly go back and to teach people the ability to be able to go out and do any of the things that they want to do. See it, you can do it.
That's right.
And building the next generation of engineers and architects and construction managers, you're bringing in the next generation of folks, hopefully to try to take your place one day to do better than what you've done. And that's our goal, is to bring in the next generation of construction managers, engineers, to come work at Turner, to continue to make us the best general contractor in the nation. So it's imperative for us to continually go back to high schools and then middle schools, elementary schools, and talk about STEM. So our goal is to continue to bring up that next generation, and we want them to come work for our company and to continually build up Inglewood as we're doing.
One last question for Dave. You sit at the intersection of this incredible lineup, literally, of every sport franchise in Los Angeles. What is the opportunity to the people here, perhaps in approaching you, and what could you do together?
Yeah, thank you so much for asking that question. I mean, I took this job all of about 4 months ago, so I'm still figuring it out. And you know what? It's white space, completely wide open. And so, again, I want to challenge everyone in this room. If you have an avenue that you think that we can help impact the community, your foundations, and we can collaborate, more importantly, we can collaborate together to improve our community and connecting our communities, I am all ears and would love to hear about it. Thank you.
I think the only person that could have the last word here is Dr. Sharon. Hope is everything, it would seem to me. And what message could you share with us about the power of hope for what you see on a daily basis? And how can we instill it?
Well, I think you're right. I think that hope and light really are critical to any individual and family and community. And what I would say is that the only way that we will thrive is if we all thrive. And that is an aspirational goal, but if we're able to recognize that everybody belongs, and that everybody has a purpose, that will change the way that we function. And we talk about disabilities. You know, I'm in the mental health field. People that have mental illness are considered disabled. But I can tell you that some of the people I have taken care of with serious mental illness are some of the smartest, kindest, most loving people I've ever met. And that if we can figure out how to create platforms for individuals to be included and to belong and to have a mission in life so that they have purpose every day, our society will transform.
Can't think of a better way to end than to say thank you. The awards in front of you are from Digital Hollywood. So on behalf of Digital Hollywood, Dr. Jackie and Victor, thank you very much for being here.
We're going to take a picture.
I love pictures.
Okay. Dr. Sharon, right in here. Okay, sir, make us look good.